In our culture, we tend to reward the go-getter kids, the kids who leap into action, but it is okay to be the kind of person who needs to survey the lay of the land. You can point out to your child when that approach really benefits, when it's good to pour the puzzle out on the table and consider all of the pieces before you dive in. We can build that time into our functioning. If you know your child takes longer to come to things, we can arrive to things a little bit early. Instead of saying we're going to try to ride 12 roller coasters at the fair, we can say we're going to try to ride 4. We can change the expectations and functionings for the family. We can point out to our child that even though they took longer, they are able to go towards things. At the same time, we can also share with them that more negative emotionality. I have an exercise for kids in my CBT family toolbox, which is about talking about rose-colored glasses and how some of us have other lens, maybe blue-colored glasses, that make things look a little more gloomy, and that's just the way we see things. It's not necessarily a representation of reality. We can say, I see things through a more blue lens or a cloudier lens. You see things through a rosier lens. We both see things differently, and the truth is much more neutral. There is a neutral lens that we can borrow. So instead of saying don't see things that way, we can say, what if you saw things this way? What would look different to you? How might you behave if you tried on a different lens? We can actually create lenses to try on. Get an old pair of glasses or go and get some reading glasses from the drugstore and color them so that we can play with seeing things differently. A new perspective. Again, neutral, not rosy sunshine all the time. And finally, we can talk about when we feel agitated and scared, it makes sense that sometimes then we feel discouraged and beaten down. When we name these things, we are bringing them out into the open. We are taking kids away from the shame of struggle. I will always be someone who is a little more melancholy. In some ways, I like being that person. I like being able to cry at movies, be moved by music. I like that sometimes on a rainy day, I like to cuddle up and just let myself be gloomy. But I don't want it to rule my functioning. And that is something to learn over time. If your child has a more negative emotionality and is more vulnerable to anxiety and depression, we cannot fix that for them. We can only help them cope with the reality of having that kind of personality. Now, having said that, sometimes medication does indeed make sense for kids and adults who struggle with anxiety and depression. That is a discussion to have with your prescriber. That is a discussion to have with your child. That is a discussion to have with a therapist.